Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode for the Financial Freedom Podcast. And I'm your host, Dr. Christopher Liu. I'm delighted to introduce our guest today, Abigail Rebecca. She goes by Abby, and she's the visibility goddess. And what's interesting is that I started out my journey trying to dissect. I'd start out my journey trying to figure out the secret sauce of success, boiled down to financial, time, location, and health freedom. And once I got that secret sauce, I'm on a mission to interview as many people on the cutting edge, making a difference and sharing their distinctions and insights. Abby, she's a human design visibility coach and consultant, and she's going to talk about all the immense challenges she's overcome and to create the life and business for her and her dream. So with that, Abby, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chris. It's great to be on the show.
Yeah. We had connected through Podmatch, which is kind of like an Airbnb matching service. Tell people how you got started and your origin story and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. So I started my business about 7 years ago after a long stint in my corporate job as a senior leader. I managed big teams and big projects, and I was very successful, but I just wasn't enjoying it. I wasn't loving it. And I thought that was the only way that I could make money. That was the only way that I could make money, that I could not have financial freedom, because obviously there was a glass ceiling, but it's how I could afford to go on nice vacations. I love to travel. And to be honest with you, I also loved the status. I loved being, the professional kind of high performing friend within my friends group. But my body had other ideas. And I developed a heart condition that saw me being rushed to A&E on several occasions, a heartbeat of 210. I'm sure your audience will know that is not normal. And I just wasn't taking it seriously. I just thought, oh, go away, it'll be fine. I just ignored it. And then the last episode, it lasted for 48 hours. And I actually I flew back on a plane, and I really scared myself. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. Like, I need to get it addressed and look at it. And I guess that was kind of my defining moment, the time that it gave me the time to look back and really think about, okay, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I decided that I just didn't want to work in corporate anymore, and I wanted to start my own business. So I left. I left corporate. I started my business. I failed miserably for the first few years. I didn't understand what I was doing wrong. I didn't really know what I was doing right. And very, very slowly, I started to turn a corner, and things started to kind of improve for me. And there were various things, I think we'll probably talk about them today, but there were various things that I discovered that really helped me on my journey. And one of the things that I really recognized about myself when I worked in corporate, that I was really good at helping people get promoted. And the reason that they got promoted when they came and I mentored them is because I helped them to be visible. So I thought, oh, hang on a minute, I can work with entrepreneurs and other professionals and help them to be visible as well. And that's why I transitioned to what I do now. So I work with entrepreneurs, business leaders, business owners, practitioners. I work with a lot of physicians, actually, and I help them to be more visible, and I help them to be confidently expressed and to feel authentic when they're going out there with their messaging, in order to create, greater success and obviously financial freedom as well within their business and their life.
Very interesting, because there's a book I've recently finished called The Body Knows the Score, and it's talking about how your body knows, if you're going against your values and your core beliefs, and it manifests as different symptoms. Could be headaches, could be, heart, a lot of different things. And you talk about this human design attraction formula, which I'm really interesting to hear about. And then you're a human design visibility coach. I've never heard someone refer to themselves as that. So tell us more about that and attracting soul clients and ease using your unique human design.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. Well, first of all, I love that book, The Body Holds the Score. I love it so much. And I love that you've read it.
Yeah.
I love speaking with amazing, qualified, trained physicians who are then looking at other alternative methods. Like, I love it so much. So I love that you've raised that. So human design, I think when I discovered human design, it was the thing that really, I think, changed the trajectory of my business and set it on a course to success, yes, freedom, inner fulfillment, happiness, joy, bliss, not having to work so hard to create success and financial freedom in my life. One of the things that I was doing so much within corporate, right? And that's what really burnt me out because I was working so hard. So the best way that I can describe human design, and I've said it before on other interviews, imagine if Myers-Briggs and astrology were lovers, the love child would be human design. So it's like a personality test, but it's based on your birth details. It's based on your birth date, your time, your place of birth. In Australia, it also has deep roots in the Tree of Life, so the Jewish Kabbalah, and I Ching, which is a very beautiful, very ancient Chinese wisdom. The chakras, the Indian chakras, obviously astrology that I've just alluded to, and also quantum physics. You know, I always talk about my work as a mixture of practicality and magic, and I believe that the two come together really well within human design. And what it does is it really shows us our body's energy sustains us and feeds us throughout our lives, right? So it shows us how our energy is received by others, how we receive energy, our best way of working, how we build relationships. It shows us like our gifts, our unique gifts and our purpose. It even shows us the environments that we thrive in, that we get the most opportunities in and we build the most relationships in. So it's really a guide for life, and it's also a guide for, well, I guess if you're running a business, you could actually take it as a blueprint and put it right over your business. What I use it for is visibility. So I work with clients who want to scale in their business, or they want to grow in their leadership. And they know that to do that, they need to be going out as a thought leader within the world, right? So, you know, whether it's speaking on stages or speaking on podcasts such as this, or going on the TV, or even just walking into conferences and networking events and feeling confident when they walk in. But there are things that are holding them back. They're not going out there and being visible because they're worried about being judged. They're worried about being criticized. They're worried about being rejected. A lot of my clients actually that I work with are kind of moving out of one profession, or maybe they're staying in that profession, so they're known for a certain thing, and then they're kind of so a doctor, for example, a physician, everyone sees her or him as a doctor, as like, you know, deeply embedded in science, and then they're starting to dabble in other things, and like, you know, maybe bringing alternative methods and setting up businesses online where they're using their traditional training and then introducing other modalities, but they're worried that maybe they'll lose credibility, that, you know, their friends will think that they've gone absolutely crazy, or they've joined a cult, or whatever it might be. So I work with a lot of people that are kind of going on that spiritual journey and have had some kind of a spiritual awakening, and they want to incorporate that into their work. So that's what I do. But there's no point me teaching you how to be visible just based on my experiences, because you and I are very different. We can never be the same. So what it does is it shows, like when I work with a human design with a client, when I first start to work with them, it shows them how they're different from anyone else, how their energy is received. And then we can build their visibility strategy based on their human design, not based on my thoughts or ideas. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. So tell us more about the type of work that you do with clients to help them get in alignment with this, with themselves and their values or goals, and how you help them manifest themselves.
Yeah. So I've been coaching and mentoring leaders, senior leaders at very high level for, over 28 years now. So based on all of that experience that I've had within corporate and now, within my coaching business and consultancy business for the last 7 years, and based on my own personal experience as well, like building a business and failing and like trying to work out how to do it, like without burning myself out again, created the Illuminate method. So the Illuminate method is what we take our clients through, and it's based on different principles and I guess the journey that I've been on really to create success within my business. So the first thing that we do, first of all, is we always start with human design, number one, before we do anything. So we'll work on your human design so you understand everything about your own human design. And then we build, as I said before, we build a visibility strategy based on that. But there's different modalities that we use to kind of bring that forward. So say, for example, I'm working with a client and, they really want to speak on big stages and maybe they want to be paid to speak, for example. So they're working in a certain profession and they want to start educating others about their thought, as a thought leader. So we know what their human design is. We know what the strategy needs to be. So we build the strategy for them. And then the resistance comes, right? So the worries, the imposter syndrome, the stage fright, whatever it might be. We coach, we mentor, we support, we provide the tools for that. One of the modalities that I really love to use is EFT, emotional freedom technique. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Dr. Chris. It's the way that I like to describe it is it's acupuncture for the brain. So you're actually tapping on the meridian points with your body. And I find like I'm a huge fan of Chinese medicine and I love acupuncture. I go at least once a month and have like the full shebang and a nice massage, and I feel the release in that energy. And I also feel it with EFT as well. So what you're doing is you are basically tapping on certain parts within your body, on your meridians. You're tapping on the monkey brain chatter. So for example, if I'm about to go on stage and I'm like, oh, I just, everyone's going to laugh at me. No one's going to take me seriously. All those limiting beliefs and all those worries that are coming up, I'm actually tapping on certain points within my body as I'm kind of repeating that mantra. And what it does is it kind of, it almost like desensitizes it. And it creates a calm and peace. And when you are at that point and you're out of the fear zone and you're actually into a more manageable zone, then we can kind of do some work around sort of building confidence around that. And another stage, I'm so multifaceted, whenever I talk about this, I'm like, oh, I do so many things. When I first left corporate, I trained to be a personal stylist. So I also style my clients as well. If they want to be more visible and they're going through this transformation, maybe they want to kind of turn up in a different way and they want to kind of, present themselves in a different way. So we also look at their business and their own kind of profiling really, in terms of how they look, their website themselves, like their social media. So we do all of that as well. So it's like the whole package of transition from hiding and being visible, from going out there and being fully visible and confidently expressed.
Yeah. You talk about this idea of visibility. Tell us more about the 7 steps to becoming more visible.
Yeah, so that's the 7. It's like a 7-step process that I take my clients through. So I'm always going to talk about human design. So first of all, we look at the human design. So that's the first step. The second step is really to connect with your big vision. So, whatever you are creating, whatever you're doing, if you have a dream or a passion for something, it's about what is it that I actually want to create, and really setting like big visions for yourself. Okay. So this is all part of, if you know about law of attraction or you're into law of attraction, this is law of attraction 101, right? So you start to look at what is it that I want to create. And part of that process is actually having sensible, empowered conversations with others. And instead of like hiding and saying, well, I don't want to share it with anyone, actually proclaiming it to the world and proclaiming it to the universe. This is what I want to create. Step 3 is visualization. And again, this is this is all part of manifestation and law of attraction, but actually starting to powerfully visualize about what it is that you want to bring into fruition. And one of the things that I love about this is that is deeply rooted in science. I don't know, Dr. Chris, have you seen the Netflix documentary about Formula One?
Is that the one with the Italian race car driver, or is it a different one?
Yeah, it follows all of them. It's like a behind the scenes kind of documentary of Formula One, and it kind of follows them to all the Formula One tracks, and it's really fascinating stuff. One of the things that really stood out for me in that documentary is that the drivers, as part of their training, they actually get into, like, they're like toy cars. They're really basic. It's just like a model of a car with a steering wheel, and they visualize the track. So before they even get on into the car and on the track, they visualize it. They go over it again and again and again. And you hear about sports people that do this all of the time. They visualize, tennis players, as part of their training, they visualize taking the shots. They visualize how they're going to move around the court. And actually, when they go up there and they do it, then it almost feels like they've already done it, because they've done it so much in their mind. They've played it in their mind. So visualization is a really powerful tool that, if you're not doing it already, I'd highly, highly recommend that, because it is very, very effective.
Yeah.
And then step 4 is about rewriting the stories, like the stories that hold us back, that I can't do this because. So it's actually, again, as I was talking about getting over the limiting beliefs and the blocks, like actually rewriting those stories. Step 5 is style. So how do you want to present yourself to the world? How do you want people to see you? How do you want people to feel when you show up? How are you going to model yourself and your business to the world? Step 6, 7 steps, I know. Step 6 is about building community, because we can't do this on our own, right? So it's about building communities, valuable networks. Your network is your net worth. So, if you're really serious about creating success and creating wealth and financial freedom within your life, then your community will go a big way there. And then step 7 is all about creating really big, audacious goals, like setting goals for yourself that are so big and scary, you don't even know how you're going to make it happen. You just know that that's something that you want. And then we start the process all over again, right? So we go back to the different steps and start to visualize that. And if you go onto my website, if you actually go on to just scroll down a little bit on my front page, there's a whole workbook that I've created that you can download for free that will take you through in detail those 7 steps, and a lot of like questions that you can either journal or just think about, like, in there. So it's not just a book that you can read, it's also a book that you can actually create. It's almost like a little mini course in a book. So that's available for anyone that's listening to this.
Yeah, I love that. One thing is talking about, you talk about raising the frequency. I've heard that term thrown around quite a bit in, your vibe. What are some tips to really instantly raise your frequency?
Well, again, this goes back to law of attraction, right? So like attracts like. So if I am hanging out and being very low vibe and angry and bitter and just having a very bad attitude, not many people are going to want to hang out with me, I don't think. And I'm definitely not going to attract any clients. Like, who would want to hang out with me? Who would want to work with me? Who would want to pay to work with me? So it's just common sense, right? That if you've got a high vibe and you've got an optimistic outlook and you're a joy to be around, then automatically you're going to attract more people into your life. You're going to attract those kind of people. You're going to attract more happiness. You're going to attract more joy. But if we kind of bring it up a notch and really think about like law of attraction, this is and I do consider it a science, right? I consider it one of the laws of the universe. When we are kind of vibrating at this higher level, and listen, I'm not talking about waking up every day and being a Disney princess, right? We're humans. We get angry. Like, sometimes I'll wake up and I'll not be in the best of moods, or I'll stub my toe, or my partner will do something and I'll get annoyed with him, or whatever it might be. So we're human. We need to feel these feelings. And sometimes we're happy, and sometimes we're sad, and sometimes we cry, and sometimes we're angry, and sometimes we're laughing. But it's about looking for things that can kind of trigger you to bring yourself out of that state. So feel the feelings, deal with whatever you're dealing with. And then how can I then raise my frequency so that I can attract more things into my life that will make me happy? So so I always say, like, you're vibrating at this frequency, things will start to come into your life that are vibrating at the same frequency. And this is obviously a podcast about creating wealth and financial freedom. Well, money vibrates at a high frequency. So the more that we can create good feelings within ourselves and make ourselves happy, and this isn't about looking for external validation, this is about internal validation. The more we can create happiness and joy and contentment within our lives, the higher frequency will be vibrating out, which means that more money will be coming into us. Now, I make it sound very, very simple, and it's not as simple as that. There's other things that, you know, are included in that, but I just wanted to kind of create it as a very simple thing to remember. And that's why I love human design so much, because human design really helps us to stop comparing ourselves to other people, beating ourselves up because we're not like them, and actually starting to accept ourselves and appreciate ourselves and ultimately love ourselves. And that is something that instantly raises your frequency.
I love that. What a fantastic way to end the episode. How can people contact you, follow you on social media, and check out your website?
Yes, so my website is Abigail. That's probably the best place to start, because you can see my work, you can look at my testimonials, you can download some free stuff on there. And also, if you are intrigued about human design, you can actually download your free human design chart on there. And then if you want to follow me, you can find me, the Visibility Goddess. I hang out on Instagram most of the time, so it'd be lovely to connect with you on there.
And for all the audience out there, Abby's resources will be in the links and show notes. And let's thank her for a fantastic conversation around human design. And be sure to follow her on all her social media channels and her website. So thanks so much. And thanks for coming on to the show.
Thank you so much, Dr. Chris. It's been a pleasure.